How many Michael Jordan cards have sold for over $100,000 in the last 40 years? How many LeBron James cards have sold for over $100,000 in the last 40 years? These are interesting questions. We're going to tackle some of these types of questions. If you want to make a guess, go ahead and make it. You're going to get some answers in just a second using the Card Ladder sales history. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. We're looking at big boy cards today from some of the greatest players to ever play the game, and I'm not talking about just basketball today. PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, C-A-J-U-N, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. Today's a really cool video. We're just going to look at some numbers of some huge ass cards that have sold. I was on the way to work this morning, and I was actually watching another channel, Sports Card Dad. A good friend of mine, DPZ, had Josh Johnson of Card Ladder fame and an incredibly accomplished LeBron James collector, and they were flipping through some of the greatest LeBron James cards in the world, and kudos to Josh. He had a lot of them. So he has an incredibly impressive LeBron James collection, and he is a LeBron snob, to say the least, because he was talking about, what's considered low pop and high pop in his mind, and to each his own. And so Josh started flipping cards and showing cards, and this sold for $400,000, this sold for $800,000. He wasn't really throwing numbers around, but I saw the cards, and I know the Card Ladder values, and I started thinking to myself, damn, there is a lot of LeBron cards that have sold for over $100,000, over $250,000, over $500,000, over $1 million, especially compared to Jordan. And so I think a lot of it speaks to the options out there, right? Of what, there are logo men for LeBron James, for example, and there's not necessarily logo men from the 90s for LeBron James. There's only a few one-of-one masterpieces for, Michael Jordan during his playing years in Bulls uniforms. But for LeBron, there's mucho one-of-ones, even getting into the Panini Prism era, and those will go for six figures. So I wanted to kind of go on Card Ladder, pull up sales history, crunch some numbers from some of these players that have began their careers post 2000, post Y2K, and then sort by $500,000 or more, and just see how many sales there were of each of their particular cards on Card Ladder. And again, it's not going to be a perfect science. It might include a couple of complete sets. It might, where their name's just thrown in there. It could include stuff where their name just appears in the title. Card Ladder can't account for that stuff, but it's going to be pretty damn close. So I'm just going to scroll over here. There is really no rhyme or reason to this, but I kind of wanted to start over here on the left with Luka Doncic. And so you'll see I'm in Card Ladder. Over here on the left side of the page, you can click this little button and go into sales history. This is going to pull up all of the Luka Doncic sales of every Luka Doncic card that has the name Luka Doncic in the title in the history of the world, not just the cards that are in Card Ladder's database. This is pulling from all the platforms: Heritage, Robert Edwards, PWCC Weekly, and Premier, and Fixed, eBay, My Slabs, Golden. Go down the list. It's got them all, okay? 13 Luka Doncic cards. And again, some of these may be the same card selling more than once, namely the first one we're looking at. 13 Luka Doncic cards have sold for more than $500,000. That's a lot in 5 years. That's $500,000. That's like a bunch of Teslas or a couple of Ferraris or a pretty damn nice house in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 13 Luka Doncic cards have sold for more than $500,000. If we keep moving along, Patrick Mahomes, 11 Patrick Mahomes have sold for more than $500,000. That's a buku amount for somebody who's still playing, who's only got 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. Tom Brady, established, retired. You could go out so far as to say he's the Michael Jordan of football card collecting. 40 Tom Brady cards have sold for more than $500,000, and I think this Contenders ticket autograph is going to comprise a lot of those sales. It looks like it comprises all of these up here at the top, but look how many Tom Brady sales over $1 million. I've got them sorted by price. These are all of the Tom Brady sales over $500,000, 3.8, 3.1, 2.8, 2.4, 2.3, 2.2, 2 million, 1.6, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.4, 1.4. I mean, that is a lot of sales over $1 million. Good Lord. About half of the 40 have been for over $1 million, and all of them have been the exact same card, as far as I can tell. Again, I'm not an expert on Tom Brady, but that's a lot. 40 cards over 500,000 have sold for Tom Brady. If we keep moving, let's get into basketball. Okay, let's get back into basketball. We saw the Doncic, we saw the Mahomes and the Brady. I'm not going to get into baseball. I didn't get into Mike Trout, but 10 Curry cards have sold for over 500,000. One Curry card has sold for over $1 million, and I don't know if we've seen this card. Yeah, this is serial number to 5, and so it looks like two different copies here, but over $1 million and then 960. That was in 21 and 22 respectively. Most of the Curry stuff is going to be in 21 and 22, and that's going to hold true for most of these players. But 10 Curry cards, so more Doncic have sold for over 500,000 than Curry. So that's the first order of business to address, right? That's the first interesting thing to address. If we keep moving, Kobe. 13. What did we say for Doncic? 13. So as many Doncic cards have sold, and I know you Kobe lovers out there, this is going to drive you nuts. As many Doncic cards, who has never won a title, who's never won an MVP, have sold for over $500,000 as Kobe Bryant cards. And we're now, what, from Kobe's rookie year in 1996, we're 27 years out. So Kobe's had 27 years to sell. Doncic has only had 5 years to sell, and more as many Doncic cards have sold for $500,000 as Kobe Bryant cards. So food for thought, interesting stuff. Again, I think a lot of it speaks to the era, the economy, inflation, but also the crazy pandemic boom and what happened during that era and how people were chasing the modern athletes and buy low, sell high based on performance and stuff like that. And at that time, the sexy thing was to buy the Doncic, the Mahomes, the Trouts, the guys that are playing right now. Let them have a good couple of weeks and then sell it for more money. Well, Kobe wasn't playing, Jordan wasn't playing, stuff like that. So that's part of the issue. But just it's interesting to just like digest. Kobe's got a a 22-year head start on Doncic, and he still has 13 sales over 500, and Doncic has the same number. If we keep moving on, and this is the granddaddy of them all, right? So LeBron James has had 42 sales over $500,000. 42 sales of cards featuring LeBron James face image, autograph patch, whatever, over $500,000. That is a monstrous number. You guys are going to want to know, and first of all, the big boy right here, $5.2 million. We all remember that one. That was the exquisite gold parallel, serial number to 23, RPA parallel. The regular 99 sold for $2.4 million, for God's sakes. And again, I've got these sorted by price. And then, of course, we remember Ken Golden's famous triple logo man, which was LeBron, and LeBron. With his, Heat, Cavs, and Lakers jersey. So 42 for LeBron. That is the pinnacle. That is the trendsetter. That is the most that I found. And then we've got Jordan here at 24. So almost twice as many LeBron cards have sold for over $500,000 as Jordan cards. The notable thing here is that the two Jordan cards that have the highest sale ever, the only two Jordan cards that have ever sold for $2 million. Remember, there's a LeBron card that sold for $5.2 million, and LeBron's had 6 cards sell for $2 million. Well, Jordan's only had 2 ever. They were both during crazy year 2021, and they were both the same patch autograph card, the 97 Upper Deck game jersey. GJ13, autograph, serial number to 23, and then this one's sort of cheating. It's a Jordan card that sold for 1.6, but it also featured LeBron and Kobe. It was that triple logo man with LeBron, Kobe, and whatnot. So, it's interesting. The highest price, no PMG green, right? We talk about the grails, right? We talk about the greatest Michael Jordan cards in the world. Well, I think the PMG green is unquestionably the greatest Michael Jordan card in existence. It might even outsell the one-of-one masterpieces from the 90s. I don't know. That's another topic for another video. But like the PMG green is, we know there's 10 made, but 9 exist because one was destroyed. Long story. Ask somebody else. 2020 was the last sale. So this is going to be a little bit skewed. We haven't gotten a chance to see a PMG green sell in the open market in 21, 22, 23. So we do think very confidently, I think it goes without saying, the card would eclipse the 1 million mark. The question is, would it eclipse the 2 million mark, and would it break the all-time record for the highest price ever paid for a Jordan? I mean, that was in PSA Authentic that sold for $915 in 2020. If we click on here, Card Ladder estimates the value is 1.2. unfortunately beg to drastically differ with that. I assure you that card, if someone said, Cajun, the green PMG is for sale for $1.2 million, do you want it? You've got 30 days to put the money together. I'm walking away with that card. I will borrow the money. I will sell whatever I have to sell. I promise you, I'm walking away with the PMG Green for $1.2 million. There's no doubt about it. I'll beg, borrow, steal. I'll do whatever I have to do. That card's definitely going to sell for more than 1.2 the next time. The question is, will it break the all-time record of 2.7 million, especially if it's a numerically graded copyright? So if you throw out the PSA Authentic, which card ladder values at 1.2, what if you get a PSA 5 or 6, right? And I think those are out there, and I think one person owns 3 of them. So I think that card's going to be well over 2 million. The question is, would it break the all-time record of 2.7 in this receding hobby that we're looking at, where prices are coming down a little bit? Not necessarily Michael Jordan card prices and not necessarily PMGs, because again, we haven't seen one since way back in December of 2020. That was a long time ago. It was almost 3 full years ago. So Michael Jordan, 24 sales over 500,000. LeBron James, 42 sales. Here's the cards that have sold for more than 500,000 since the first day of this year. And what you'll notice is a bunch of these cards are not basketball cards. So we've got, starting at the top with price, we've got the Mantle, right? We're just going to say the Mantle, because when we say the Mantle, we mean 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. Second year card, by the way. Next is, this is going to blow some people's mind. It is a Magic the Gathering card. The Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Ring, the One Ring, Tales of Middle Earth, PSA 9, 1 of 1 card that sold for $2 million inexplicably. And then you've got the Honus Wagner, you've got a Sporting News Babe Ruth, you've got, Joe Doyle sells for 1.3 million. Someone else will have to explain that one to me. You've got the Contenders Brady, you've got the Mantle, you got a Gowdy Ruth in an 8.5. Good Lord. You got Mantle, you've got a Clemente PSA 9. I am gonna guess the pop on that's pretty low. And then you get to 912,000 and you see the very first LeBron James. Remember, this is the LeBron James serial number to 99. It's in a BGS 9.5 holder, so big time card right there. And then the gold Topps Chrome Refractor, which was serial number to 50, PSA 10, sells for 900 as well. So no basketball cards have sold for $1 million since the beginning of this year. So I just thought that was interesting. There's been 41 sales over $500,000, very few sales over $1 million. In fact, I think the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 10, something like that. So drastically different. If we searched sales over $1 million in the year 2021, it would be a freaking much bigger number. Let's just put it that way. And now let's talk about cards that have sold over $100,000. Again, I apologize if you wanted to see us talk about silver prisms and affordable cards and cool cards that we can all go out and buy, but we're talking about crazy shit today. And so over 100,000, this is all time throughout history. Cards that have sold for over 100,000 with LeBron James, it's 288, right? So remember, we saw 42 sales of LeBron James over 500,000 and only 24 sales of Michael Jordan over 500,000. With LeBron James over 100,000, it's 288 cards have sold for over 100,000. And then Michael Jordan is, anybody want to guess before I click the button? 359. So you're thinking, okay, fine, now Jordan wins. Jordan's got way more sales over 100,000 than LeBron James. But here's the problem, okay? For those of you who don't know, there's a very important Michael Jordan card from 1986 Fleer, and there are 320 of them in PSA 10 condition. And that card tends to sell for over $100,000, especially in recent years. So if we type in the words, remember, 359 total Michael Jordan sales all time, over 359, over $100,000. But if we type in 1986 Fleer and we take out 1986 Fleer, it's 168. So that drops us down to damn near 200, right? Something like that, which is significantly less than LeBron. So it's really interesting just kind of looking at these huge ass sales, looking at the comparison between the LeBrons and the Jordans, and then the Kobes and the Currys and the Doncic's, and just kind of trying to wrap your brain around that. Again, that 1986 Fleer PSA 10 once sold for $840,000. So that's the peak of insanity in July of 2021. But it's interesting to compare because you're not only comparing players. It's not like who's better. It's not like this is indicative of who's better. We know Doncic is not better than Kobe, yet. Maybe he will be one day. I don't know. It would be very difficult for him to replicate what Kobe did, considering he has 5 rings and about 50 billion all defensive teams and MVP, one MVP. It's just interesting to look at this because it's not a direct correlation. It's not a direct comparison of player performance. It's just not. Jordan, the Jordan era, they just didn't have patch autographs. They didn't have, they did, in 97, but they don't have a Jordan RPA, right? For God's sakes, what if they had a Jordan RPA serial number to 99? You'd have, 1,000 sales over $100,000 throughout the last 40 years, right? Because Jordan's had 40 years to sell basically, since 1986 to 2023. You're talking about 37 years of Jordan sales. Really, if you go back to 84 Star, you're talking about almost exactly 40 years worth of Jordan cards selling, being able to eclipse 100,000 or 500,000. LeBron's only had 20 years, and so in half the time, LeBron has almost twice as many sales over 100,000 as Jordan. So I just think it's interesting to use Card Ladder and use the tools. You can also use the indexes in Card Ladder to do cool stuff like this. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know, which players historically you think are drastically underrated or drastically overrated. We could have done a video with Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, David Robinson. Who else are we forgetting? We looked at Kobe. We looked at Curry. We can look at Kevin Durant. We can look at Dwayne Wade. We can look at how many of those cards have sold for 100,000. I think it would yield some pretty interesting results, and the answer would always be 0 for a lot of the players that I just mentioned. Not Durant, but most of the other players I just mentioned. There are definitely more Zion Williamson sales over 100,000 than there are Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, George Gervin. I mean, you can go down the list, add all those motherfuckers, excuse my language, all those guys up, and Zion and Morant and Doncic and all these folks will certainly have surpassed them with more over $100,000 sales. So it's just interesting to look at, and it's an interesting quandary about where do you put your money. You want to invest, you want to buy cards, are you investing, are you collecting? If you're investing, where's the best place to put your money right now? You got to always balance, risk and reward. And I like Michael Jordan as a potential option because he seems to be a pretty low risk, pretty high reward. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know who's out there that you think is a great place to put your money right now. Is it an ultra-modern player? Is it a player who's got RPAs and logo men? Or is it, a player that maybe only has one rookie card, a Wilt Chamberlain, a Bill Russell, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, whatever, Dr. J, 72 Tops? Is it something like that? I'm just curious what you guys think. Thanks as always. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.